Tradition versus new tradition?
Tradition versus new tradition?
Yeah, that's what I'm reading.
Okay.
So tradition versus, I'm guessing, something new.
Tradition versus new tradition. Who did that?
I did.
What do you mean by that?
God.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
Go ahead. What do you mean by that?
I mean, like old school traditions, like you sell Sunday night dinners versus not having them, the things that we're accustomed to. Like, I used to go to church with my grandparents every Sunday. I'm not so religious. I don't think I actually was religious enough. Just, that's what we did as kids, versus as adults, what do we do? You're married, you're going to have a kid. Are you going to keep the same values, the same traditions that you did when you were growing up?
No, that's
versus
a good one,
make new ones.
I would say if it's okay to build on that, one tradition I've had with my family is for birthdays we would usually go out to dinner. Like that. Okay, we all go out to dinner and we'd go to Benihana's. I like hibachi. Maybe because I've been going there for a long time, but we do it every year. We'd go to Benihana's for my birthday. Sit and past a couple of years, my wife and I have moved out, and now I'm just living with my mother-in-law now. But still, I no longer live with my parents, and it's okay. Now, my brother lives in this part of town. Now, me and my wife live in this part of town. We don't all get together for that same tradition, but now it's just me and my wife. We go to Benihana's, but it's interesting how the tradition changes.
Right.
It's we've kept the tradition, but it also changes, and I don't know. It's interesting how to see even only being married for a little bit, and that change being relatively recent, that it that tradition's already changed. It's oh yeah, I guess we're keeping the birthday photos from Benihana's, we're keeping our own collection of that now, and it's interesting.
So tradition just became a new version of it.
Yeah.
So, but by tradition, so the confusing thing is when I think of tradition, I think of something old, something that we used to do.
Mm-hmm.
New tradition almost sounds like an oxymoron in a way, where it's how is it? What do you mean by new tradition? Can you explain that?
So, all right, I have quite a few siblings.
How many? What's quite a few?
My dad was married 3 times.
Okay.
So we're up to 6. And my mom was also remarried. So, all right, the tradition was we would always go to my grandparents' house for Christmas. I would actually go to several houses so that I saw all of my family. So now, last year, prime example, I didn't. So me and my sister decided we were going to create a new tradition and do a sibling tradition. So because we have different parents, instead of us going our separate ways, Christmas Eve is going to be our thing. We're going to have gifts, dinner, whatever the case may be, but it's only a sibling thing. It's not a cousin's, it's not the aunt, the uncle, mom, dad, you know what I mean? It just has now become our new thing. We're still going to celebrate with family, but not on that day. Right. So on Christmas, if we have to go, my sister's going to her dad's house, I'm going to my aunt's house, my other sister's going to her significant others, at least we had one day where we still spend that day together, and you're not obligated, when we were younger, you went where you had to go. Right. We're doing something different, but still trying to keep the same traditions alive.
So you're saying, the subject was tradition versus new tradition.
Right. Which one would you prefer? Keeping the old traditions alive or doing something new? I always wanted to keep all my traditions alive, but the reality is people die off.
And I feel like he explained it perfectly.
Right.
Of new marriage, new traditions.
You're still keeping something.
But he incorporated his old traditions
into the new tradition.
Exactly.
That's kind of all of society.
I understand what you're saying with the oxymoron, because it's a tradition, something old. But
we also have very long-standing traditions. And you could even say certain holidays are really just traditions. Thanksgiving in the U.S. I don't know. We all learn something. We learned. Oh, this happened. Thanksgiving, but at this point, for the most part, it's oh yeah, Thanksgiving, you have turkey and you take the day off usually. That's the tradition. And it's
So a tradition we used to do, me, my mom, and my aunt used to do Black Friday. Black Friday's not the same anymore. They open, weeks before now?
Black Friday?
Oh, I used to do Black
So
Friday.
racist.
Absolutely. I didn't make that one.
You do know why Black Friday was started, correct?
No, go ahead and inform me.
It was the day that they sold the slaves on the slave block. That's what Black Friday is about, which is why I've never understood why black people go out on Black Friday.
Interesting.
But, you know,
I didn't know that.
I
certain
didn't know
black
that.
people like a good deal, they'll do anything.
I've always heard it's in the red versus like in the black like expression, but honestly, that
That's
would
the
not surprise
retail.
me. Yeah, it's like that wouldn't surprise me.
That's the retail version of it, which is more modern day, but think about where it started. And that's where it started, right?
Well, why hasn't that
Why hasn't that
been a
changed?
thing? Yeah, why hasn't that changed? Because I feel like every little thing now is like, ooh, that's from this. You can't say that anymore. But Black Friday hasn't been one of those.
People
But
like
they
people
still-
like their deals.
But Black Friday is
Black
not.
Friday deals.
Yeah.
Let's call it Deal Friday.
One, it's not like he said, like it's not like it used to be, and people just love a deal. Like
I mean, you're not getting
I've
up at
never
4 a.m. anymore.
been shopping on Black Friday, never. And I remember a few years ago walking to my mother's family's house. Yeah, whatever. And I'm like, where is everybody? Oh, they're all at Walmart.
Getting their deals.
My mom at this point was gone from this world. My mom used to host Thanksgiving. If my mom was alive, that would have never flown. Her sisters, her nieces, and that, like if she had to block the streets off, that would have never flown. So I left the house and I went to Walmart to see my family while I was in town because that was the only way I was going to see them on Thanksgiving Day. It was ridiculous.
But would have never flown with your mom because it was called Black Friday and that had to
No, because my mom was a traditional family person. Thanksgiving, because they they started changing Black Friday to like the end of Thanksgiving, and people would go Thanksgiving
And
Day.
now it's like, what, the month of November?
It's the month of
starts?
November, or it's the whole day of Thanksgiving. People should be at home. Walmart should be closed. And like seriously, the Cyber Monday deals are that much better anyway.
Yeah, I was
Right.
Just
I'm a
wait
Cyber
3 days.
Monday person.
You know, like they say, everybody likes a good deal. But my mom would have never. She's like, where do you think you guys going? Like, we cooked. Like she cooked. She slaved over a stove, and anything you could want, eat, dessert, food. It was there. So she's not going to do all of this and then have you idiots running around in Walmart or Target or Kmart or wherever to get a good deal on a Black Friday on a TV that you probably can't even afford anyway.
Right.
Are you going to affirm it when you get there? I just want to know.
But still, is the problem that is that what you just said, the problem in that case is that, hey, I cooked all this meal, we should all be hanging out as family? Or is the other problem that it's called Black Friday and that has to do
No,
with
it's
the
more
whole-
that, from my mom's point of view, it would have been more that she's cooked this food. It's family time. You guys don't need to be shopping.
Right.
And again, my mom never participated in Black Friday either because what is the point? Like I said, I can
Good
say I'm going to be 30 next month in a few months. And yeah.
30?
Shut up. And yeah, I've never been Black Friday shopping.
You're 30, I'm 21.
You're in the year 21 then, kid.
So still though, with the tradition versus new tradition, I feel like tradition itself evolves anyway, doesn't it? Even Christmas, which is a traditional thing, evolves from what? The
Supposedly
winter
this,
solstice and all that.
yeah, like arguably it comes from at least my Latin teacher would teach us that it was Saturnalia. Like it has nothing like according to sources who I would have to look up at a separate time, but based on the foods and the things and the weather described in the Bible around the time of the birth of Jesus, he wasn't born in winter. According to that,
right?
yeah, so around like springtime or so,
Yeah.
and it's like okay, like that makes sense, and it's like there's whatever signs like that's like backed like whatever like signs like meteorological signs. I was like, oh yeah, like he was born around this, and then it's like yeah, but Romans really liked Saturnalia. Hey, did you hear this Jesus guy that we're trying to get all you Romans to like? His birthday just happens to be right at the exact same time as Saturnalia. Wow, that's great! And like, mind you, like and that's what the Romans did. They would take in the other cultures' traditions and make it part of their own. That was something they were very good at doing. And then it developed up from there, and the whole Yule tree from the Norse pagans, and like the more dark ages, like period like 800s or so, and so on and so forth. And then we get modern capitalism with Santa Claus. Like it just keeps piling on, and then people will say that's not what Christmas was about. It's like, do we know what Christmas is about? Or
Okay, I'm just gonna put it out there. You do know Santa Claus was real at some point, correct?
Well, Saint
He was
Nicholas, yes.
real.
No, but Saint Nicholas.
Yeah, Saint
no, but like
Nicholas.
Saint.
That-
No, but
yeah,
Saint.
but
But,
then
people
that's
think Saint
based on-
Nicholas drinking a Coca-Cola. They don't think Saint Nicholas from the
saint.
Yeah, the saint.
The Saint.
Well,
Nicholas.
Saint Nicholas, he dressed like Santa. He was Santa. Saint Nicholas, Santa Claus was real at one point. That's just true.
Yeah, but he wasn't real. Like he was a guy going with his reindeer.
I don't know about that. I
flying
wasn't
around.
there, so
Probably not reindeer. 'Cause
I believe in Christmas and I believe in Saint Nick and Santa Claus. So I mean, I have several Christmas books.
You know,
And-
every time kids ask me, I'm like, I can't prove it, I can't disprove it.
My
so
nieces
who
and
knows?
nephews know if you don't believe in Santa, you don't get a gift. Straight up.
I guess
Traditions are
You said
important
bring people
because
together.
yeah, it brings people together. It builds the community. The traditions build the community, and without traditions, you have no community.
So it sounds like you are saying, long as there's tradition, there's nothing wrong because of what it does.
Well, there can be bad traditions, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we're not gonna.
Well, that's right. I mean, we touched on a few of the things where there's even bad elements to the traditions that we do have,
Right.
like consumerism and going out and shopping like crazy
Right.
when you should be spending time with your family.
Right. Like
Or who says should you? Who says?
Yeah,
whether
If you like your
should or shouldn't?
family.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, oh, there's a lot of people that go like, oh man, Thanksgiving with the family. All right, don't talk to Uncle So and So.